Welcome to Middle Fingers Up, the show where we hold our heads high and our middle fingers higher. I'm your host, Kieran McKay. Welcome to my guests again. The boys are back. I don't know if that's the way you want to be introduced, but I'm just going to immediately go ahead and unmute you guys and say thank you and a warm welcome to Cam, who's sitting in the room with me, my hubby, Carrie, who's back in the room with me, and my lovely cousin Amin all the way from Surrey, BC, who's on the phone. Thanks for coming back, guys.
Hooray!
Thank you.
I'm always very excited any guest that agrees to come on with me, but definitely I was super excited. Is that okay to say? Very super excited when you guys agreed the last time. And then immediately after the last episode, we, as all my guests and I do, a little post-episode debrief. And I just really appreciated all three of you. Cam, actually, I think you had to leave by then, but Carrie and Amin, we stayed a little longer and talked about how that episode went and some things that maybe we wish we said. And immediately I was like, oh my goodness, can you please come back? And you all agreed, and I finally got you back in the room again. So thank you again to all of you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Cam. You guys are so quiet today. What's going on? We're not chatty.
It's an ugly day outside.
It is. It's like minus 500
It's ruining
today.
my mood.
It's a Saturday.
Yes,
I think Cam's hungover.
Yes, Cam's hungover.
Guys, I don't drink. The whole world's listening to this, okay?
Yeah, your mom.
I don't need them thinking that.
The
No,
whole world.
they're right,
Someone in
right.
France was listening to this.
Oh, that's exciting.
It's also been 15 and a half minutes since Cam took his last coffee break. So,
Right. Canada Post coffee break.
Oh,
that's right.
Amin's a little salty with Canada Post over in BC. There's been some
Drama.
issues in the mail, so Cam's getting it over here in Calgary, being a Canada Post.
They're a great company. They're always there for me when I need them. I got nothing bad to say about Canada Post.
Of course you don't. You're in the union. You drink that Kool-Aid.
Oh shit!
I don't like Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here. Appreciate it. So let's get into our middle fingers and what are we putting them up to. So, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, so I would like to put my middle fingers up to people who can't parallel park properly.
Oh shit! That's to me then.
The ones who there's enough room for 3.5 cars, but they park directly in the middle of it, so you can only put one car in that spot. And they're the free spots, so they're the best spots, but they ruin everything.
Those people.
So, those people is who I would like to put my middle fingers up to.
If that's what pisses you off, then you must really hate the people that park forward in 3 fucking spots. Because I see that shit all the time too. So.
Oh yeah,
parallel parking is way harder than just parking straight into a stall.
And I just want to say, I am bad at it, so I don't do it. So I'm actually not one of those people that you're giving your middle finger to, because I just don't do it.
But you might do it, because then you might pull in forward. You know what I mean? So you might not parallel park, but you might pull in forward. So you generally just pull in forward, and then there's zero adjustments. And then you ruin it for everyone.
So I'm the bad guy again?
You might be. We'll see. I'll have to get some reports from Carrie after this is over.
Carrie?
Well, I think that's why I drive a truck, so I can just drive in forward, go right over the curb. Maybe a small child that's standing there.
That's right.
And then back up on it.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. As long as you adjust and you fix it, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. When I took my driver's test in Prince Albert, I failed the first time. Second time, I had to parallel park behind a taxi cab, and there's no one else behind it. So I just
that's
got
how
to
they
back
teach
up
you.
and
That's how I had to parallel.
No, but there's
that's
no
why I
one
passed
there
the first time.
Oh, you didn't have to go in between cars?
No, it was just, you get right next to them, and then you go
Without a car behind
That's
it, though?
right.
Like, without
That's
a space?
right, yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was, like, practicing a lot. I think the people whose car that I had borrowed to write, I don't want to say in case they listen, but they don't even know me anymore. I, like, hit their car on the curb. And they
Oh,
never
no.
noticed when I
So
came
then
back.
who is it? If they're
I don't want
not-
to say,
if they don't know.
whatever. Don't tell
You
anyone.
borrowed a car to do a test?
Yeah, I remember I didn't have a car for the longest time. I used to bus it everywhere.
Yeah, but your parents didn't have a car?
No, this was here in Calgary. Oh, I had to do it again. Sorry. That the first time I didn't, but I had to get my class
Oh,
for
right,
work.
yeah.
What was that? What's the one where you
3.
can no 4 or something? And yeah, never mind. That was the second time I had to do it. But my parents, I learned on my parents' car. Okay, I mean, well, I'm sorry that people like me ruin your life out on the road. So, my
Well, not my
apologies.
life, just a few minutes of my day.
But can we just
Yeah.
ask why?
Yeah, why?
Like,
I mean,
was there, like,
Is
something
there a
happened
story?
just, like, yesterday or something?
I don't know. It happens all the time.
Oh, okay.
You know,
there's so many stories. We'd be here all day.
it's just it's exactly. It's just a constant happening everywhere.
You and
So,
Cam are like the school bus, and you guys are like the old grandpas on the rocking chairs.
I feel bad about the school bus guy now. I was thinking about it. And he's just working, you know. He's trying to make money and stuff.
Wow,
you know?
Cam, you've grown so much since the last episode.
So just if no one remembers or listened, Cam had, I think, was your middle finger up to the bus?
yeah,
in
the
front
school
of your
bus
house?
driver.
In the first episode or something.
Second episode?
Second? No, first
How many
episode.
episodes? Man,
First episode.
you part of this thing? Getting paid?
Yeah,
No,
he's,
this is my second or third.
he's my ghost co-host.
Ghostwriter.
Okay, so Cam, I'm going to go to you. What do you want to put your middle finger up to?
I think I want to put my middle finger up to my curse. So this is this is my curse, and I think I'm gonna say fuck you to you today. And my curse is going bald but having hair everywhere else on my body.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I feel you, brother.
yeah. You know, it's like it's not growing up here, but it's growing everywhere else.
And by up here, you're pointing
So,
on the top of your head.
Top of my head, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know, like I'm kind of a troll, so I'm like, I think my body is trolling me as well. And, you know, like it's just like I'm gonna play
Isn't
a
that like a
prank on this
double
motherfucker
negative then? You're being trolled by...
by
Can you
myself.
just grow your beard out and throw it over?
Well, yeah, but that
you
costs
look
like
you have a full
$4,000.
head of hair.
Hey, we can go on a family trip. Let's go to Turkey.
Yeah,
I hear these things are working.
I was thinking about that too, but then you know, I'm more of like, you know, just like this is my path. You know, I'm meant to go bald, so
Well, do you think you have a good head to shave? Because that's how you decide.
probably not.
Like, Papa's got the best head for a shaved
You
head,
know, I
right?
should have a good head because all the men in our family are bald. So
Yeah, but Papa, Dada, even your dad, they have, like, the best shaved head, don't you think, Amin?
Well, my dad doesn't shave his head yet. I've been telling him to do it.
he's got the Caldi, right? The Caldi sack.
That's right, the cul-de-sac.
But
He's
it's
been
good
rocking
shape.
it since like the early '80s.
Since
I
I've
believe.
known him. Yes.
He's got a good
Yeah,
head shape.
so-
though.
It suits him, yeah.
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 Cam, you look like you got a full head of hair, man.
Oh, look at that, Cam.
Oh, I appreciate that, but I see it thinning out. I'm not like, oh, it happens, whatever. That's why it's
you
the middle
are
finger
like-
up, right? It's like for a few
And you're
minutes.
like 8 feet tall, so no one can see up there.
Exactly.
anyway.
Yeah, no one can see.
Yeah, it's good that you're
But
tall.
I got a hunchback, man, so you know,
Oh no.
people can see the top.
Oh no. I'm sure you could get some like surgery from Canada Post to fix that.
There you go.
Yeah,
You probably have good federal coverage.
they probably will cover that for me. I want hair to look good
Let's
for
do.
you
Let's go
guys.
to Turkey. Let's do it. We'll get Nevin Milic to go too, and we'll make it a trip. We can let your wife know.
So now my like my head surgery, my hair surgery is all about this middle fingers up lady right here, the podcast, the host, the
Well, I'm
everything.
just trying to turn a frown upside down, right?
Sure.
So, well, I mean, I'm glad you shared that though, Cam, because I bet you there's a lot of people out there that are probably feeling your pain. So, and that's nice that you talked about that. Carrie, what do you want to put your middle fingers up to?
I don't want to bring everybody down, so.
Oh.
But my middle finger will be up to, I don't know how to say it, sad feelings.
Oh, what do you mean?
I don't know, like, I would say for the last 2 days maybe, and this could be brought upon by like stress at work or whatever, I have not been feeling chipper.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Like, go in the bedroom, lay down, and like, I'm like, man, this is what people probably like do a lot, and it's not normal for me. So I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. Mm-hmm. When people are like, oh, I, feel this way or feel that way. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm like, oh, that's what that is now.
Like, what do you mean when people say that? Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, and when people are talking about depression and being down, I was always like, yeah, whatever. Then just feel up. Like, can't you just feel better? Like, just, if you're not awesome, just start feeling awesome again.
Right.
Totally, right? Just fix it.
Right.
Yeah, and that works.
Yeah, all the time.
But so I kind of get it. And
60%
it's
of the
interesting
time,
because you kind of just want to be in it.
Like
I don't want to feel better. I just want to kind of marinate in it for a bit. Anyway, that's my thoughts today. My middle finger will be up to the marinating in sad thoughts.
I really appreciate you shared that, and I don't know if like Cam or Amin have anything they want to follow up with that before we move forward.
Oh yeah, no, that's a very normal thing. I think that's especially the part where he said that you sort of just want to sit in it. Like that is I don't know. I definitely
like it almost feels good, right?
Yeah. Like it feels good to feel bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And when it happens the first or second time, or like especially like the first couple times, you're like, oh, this is weird. And then you're like, oh, but I just want to sit in it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you get anything, like when you sit in it, does that help eventually? Or like what about sitting in it feels good?
I don't know. And that's the maybe that's the question is like, I don't know why you want to sit in it or why you want to marinate in it, but I don't know. Somehow there's some good feeling there about doing it for a bit, but it's not like it's going anywhere. And I think I'm just assuming you just get out of it, right? So
I mean, I think like acknowledging that you're stuck somewhere and you are okay being in it is a really big thing. You don't, usually, and you there's a point, and one of you even said the last time how sometimes you guys feel like fixing, like you guys are taught that you have to fix and find like whether it's the wall or the house or in the relationship. And
it's the whole like men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Right.
Like, we want to, you tell me a problem and I want to just fix it, but yet I don't understand that.
I don't
you
have
just
the
want to
tools.
talk about it.
I don't have the right tools.
But you just want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I want, as soon as you tell me a problem, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do?
Yeah, where's the solution?
Just no, just listen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But maybe that's what you're doing right now, right? Maybe you're allowing yourself to sit in it because you're not in a rush to fix it. Like that's not a bad thing. I do think, though, that it's good that you're talking about it, which is a good sign, because I worry about people that maybe feel like they can't bring this up in this way, and those people are then isolating themselves, and then it's harder and harder and harder to, quote unquote, right, just get out of it or fix it.
Yeah.
So there's this piece about being okay to sit in it right now because I just want to be okay being here, whatever, but I'm eventually going to reach out, seek help, figure it out, then, diving deeper into a sadness, a depression, or whatever that may be. So
yeah. The recognition, I think, is important too, because then that this is for him, at least he understands that, okay, well, I know this is not normal. Whereas if you were just feeling like that and not recognizing the fact that that's not a normal for you, like, so he I feel like I think that's like the first step of working through it.
Good point.
Yep.
Really good point. Sounds like somebody speaking from experience over there.
Maybe just a little bit.
Just a little bit, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Carrie, I think we'll probably at some point end up coming back to that. I hope you don't mind, because I think you said a lot of things that we probably are some way going to make our way to this conversation. And that's kind of why we're here today as well. So, actually, if you guys don't mind, I have a MFU, but somebody asked me to take up my space and share their MFU.
Ooh, first one.
Yeah, the first one.
Oh, wow.
So
Congrats.
a shout out to
cool.
Danielle P out there. She exists. I promise. She's a teacher.
Just Google her up.
Her kid and my kid are friends, I swear. She came by to drop her kid off because I was taking Terrence to his birthday party, and she was going on her rant. Cam, you would have appreciated it, about an MFU to traffic cams. I don't know if you guys have those out there in BC. I'm in because you guys are so honest and upfront about abiding by the law.
No, we got it.
You guys got traffic, right? So yeah, so she's been getting a lot of tickets, and I was like, I can share your pain. I get it somehow. Like, I think it's like fake. I don't know why I keep getting them too. Like, maybe that's the new scam.
Google Maps tells you where they are. Like, it's like, bing, slow down.
That's not the point. The point is that
not always though, because I got one recently too, and
it was lying.
Google,
right?
It didn't see shit.
Well, you'd have to have your map on to a destination, which maybe if you're just driving.
No, it was to a destination.
Well, I just want to give my girl a shout out because I feel her pain, and middle fingers up to traffic cams.
And yay to the first middle fingers up.
Yeah.
External.
Yeah. Exactly. Also, yeah. So there you go. So I was going to also ask you guys, did you guys get any feedback from episode 4 from Suck It Up Princess? Anybody hear anything from anyone? I got some feedback, but I'm just curious if you guys did.
Yeah, me too. I had some people reach out and let me know what they thought of the episode. It was all good stuff. So yeah, it was nice to hear.
And anything in particular you want to share?
It was just sort of the same thing where they were just glad that someone was out there sort of going through the same thing they were going through, and knowing that there's people out there that need to take that first step and seek help. And there's really nothing wrong with seeking help. Throughout our life, we're always told to ask for help when you need it. But, for some reason, when we get older, it's not as okay, or we feel as though it's not as okay. So, just someone out there being vulnerable and showing that, yeah, it's okay. It's always nice to see other people are in the same boat as you. You're not on an island.
Totally. And until you say something, you don't realize that there are people, in the same boat as you. So
that's right.
It's interesting. Like, you gotta say something, but it's so hard to. So I think that's lovely feedback. I got similar stuff on all of your behalf too. Like I got one that was really interesting, was a family member that is younger than all of you that said it was really neat listening to all three of you, because he's been growing up around you guys, and he was really inspired by all three of you sharing your vulnerability. So I don't know if you guys felt that you were being vulnerable in our last conversation at all, but he definitely caught that. And a lot of people gave me very similar feedback. They were really appreciative of it too. So I had actually had my first email to info@MFU podcast. And it was, she's the wife of a colleague, somebody that I worked with. And I'm not sure if she recognized it through you guys or if it sort of verified what she already knew. But after listening to all three of you, she was sort of weighing in on her dad and her husband's relationship and the clash and the generation that her dad comes from and the expectation of what a man should be. And she's recognizing talking about how he has been very disrespectful to her husband, who is the father of her children. And, I don't know, I'm like, it's tough because it's very clear that her dad loves her. And he thinks this is his way of showing her. But, she had mentioned how he bought a set of tools to leave at the house because it's like these are mine for when I come over to fix your stuff. So it was like good for her for recognizing, reaching out, talking about that. And I think a big kudos to all three of you too for sharing in the way that you did, that allowed other people to sort of recognize some things, or, maybe like you said, feel like, okay, it's not just me, there's other people out there that are experiencing these sorts of things.
For sure.
Yeah. So anything come out after, like anything come up for you or come out of the last episode for either of you?
Well, I did have some feedback to you.
Oh, you got feedback too? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was from Harjot L.
Okay.
and
You're such a...
Please say it. We need to hear this. I feel this is very important for everyone to hear too. Carrie, please continue.
I think he's like, oh, I'm listening to this at work, and he's like, I'm 5 minutes in, and he's like, I just have to say, man, your enthusiasm in the beginning was awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I got in trouble for that. It's like, hey.
Yeah, your lack thereof.
Hey.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
Harjot L.
Sergeant S also had feedback.
Right.
But also, this Harjot L guy, let's throw him under the bus a little bit. He also reached out to me, and he's like, "Your Cam's corner is not going to last very long, buddy."
Oh, Harjot
He's
L.
he's a little heckler over there in Surrey, BC.
Yeah.
That was actually the important tidbit that I wanted to come out. So I'm glad you said that.
That's good.
That's funny. I appreciate everyone that has been sending in feedback to the guests, because all the guests have been getting their own feedback, which is lovely. And the guests are sharing the feedback with me, or like friends and family, people that are having all sorts of things come up. I've been really appreciating the feedback. It's helping our show because we want to, do better, be better in the best way that we can. And so having all your feedback has been really appreciative, as well as, I think, giving us the green light to keep going. So thanks for that. I also wanted to ask you guys, though, like anything come out? Sorry, Carrie, because I forgot to ask you for the feedback, but I was asking, anything come out or come up for you guys out of the last episode? Like where you're like, oh, I wish I shared this, or... Yeah,
I think I definitely, when I listened to it, I was like, oh, why did I ask... I was asking, like specific, like, oh, why did you go to, or why did you seek help?
Yeah.
Like, was there a one thing? Was there one thing? And, or why did you stop drinking? Was there one thing that happened? And I think why I was asking that, and it seemed kind of like an organic growth into maybe why you stopped, right? So it wasn't one thing. But I think I was asking because I'm like really looking at myself. Like, okay, because I'm always asking myself, is that like, am I drinking too much? Like, I'll have a scotch every night or every second night. Is that too much? Or I had 3 drinks today. Like, I'm always questioning myself about how much I drink. And I was like, okay, well, if I did something like got really drunk, did something really dumb, would that be when I stopped drinking, or do I need to stop? I don't know. That was, I was like, I was asking you that question I think for me, even
to like, for it to make sense to you. Cause you didn't, I get that.
Yeah.
And it was, cause I remember you were you're like, so it wasn't just like you didn't do something, like you didn't punch your boss in the face. You didn't spit on something. Like, no, it wasn't. It's like, no, it's just, organically happened. But
which it's way better, obviously, right? Because you didn't.
Oh yeah.
You didn't go drive around the neighborhood or something, or.
Well,
exactly. It wasn't a forced decision either, right?
Yeah. So did have you come up with something with that question? Like, what sense are you making of that? Because that's really interesting. That's pretty big that you picked up on that.
Well, I think, it's just for me, right? But I'm always concerned about it. I didn't come from a family with alcoholism. I mean, but we all drank, right? it was just, that's what you did, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have drugs where I grew up. Well, I'm sure there's a lot there. There was a lot there after and a lot there, maybe even during, but we didn't see it. So it was drinking and so I've drank a lot. And since I'm young, right? Yeah. So it's all normalized, and it's like if you go to a hockey game or if you go somewhere, it was like, we're gonna plan how we're gonna drink and what we're gonna take and how we're gonna take it, and it was like this big plan all the time about the drinking. Yeah. And so I'll go out with friends. Tailgating, right? I'll go out with friends now. Yeah. To events, and I'll be like, oh, we're not doing that. Like, we're not planning the drinks and this and that, right? Yeah. And then certain friends or family members you do, and that's the normal thing. Right. Oh yeah, like make sure you get the vodka in the bottle so it looks clear.
Those are the ones you like, right? Like, I want to hang out with those guys because
no, and
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But that's how we were back in the days.
But we went, like, I drove out to Seattle. We went to watch some racing this summer. Yeah. And I was like, okay, we're gonna go see these races, and I'm like, oh, let's have some drinks. In my head, I didn't say it out loud, and the individual I was with, like, he doesn't drink a lot, and I'm like, this is good, because you're just experiencing it. You're not, and there's just another it's one less thing to worry about.
Right.
Anyway,
that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just it's a reflection.
Totally.
Just reflecting on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. What do you think, Cam?
What's the question?
No, I was just curious what you thought about, like, would you agree with Carrie? Because I think that's interesting that Carrie, you know, here's what Amin saying, and Amin just, you know, in that episode 4 talks about how he quit drinking. And you had even mentioned the last one about, that's crazy because it's not like how most of us are, but I'm going to start this diet on Monday morning or New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just kind of said, this is it. And then kept, you know, you made a comment about
just
that.
because you asked like what you got out of the episode.
Oh yeah. No, I'm going to come back to that. I was just asking,
So this is just from follow up to what Carrie was talking about, right? Yeah, no, we all know, and well, not we all, but Amin knows, you know, Carrie knows now too. He's been in our family for a very long time. He's been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like our family likes to drink.
Yeah.
So, I think, I always question that too. Like he was saying, like, am I drinking too much?
Yeah.
Right. And of course, when I was younger, it was like, oh, it's drink more because it's cool, right? Like that's what you outdrink these guys. But now, like as you get older, of course, you're like, yeah, is this too much? Is this, you know, like you work every day and you come home, you have like a scotch or two, and like, is that normal? Does everyone do that?
Yeah.
Or is it just like us because we like to, you know, like we can relate to that? But absolutely, yeah. And then one thing that Carrie said too, he's like, he remember him saying in Saskatchewan, he's like, they didn't have any drugs except alcohol, but that's the worst fucking drug there is there, man. The worst one out of all of them. The illegal substance like that's been around for like how many years, right? Like,
Yeah.
I agree.
And sugar, because sugar is crack.
Well, sugar is like, sugar's not technically, is it technically a
To
drug?
me, it is. Sugar's crack.
Well, when you were talking about like drugs.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, fair.
Stuff like substance abuse and shit, like all that. Like, I think alcohol is actually, like, alcohol withdrawal is worse than like crack and heroin, right? Because you could,
I don't know. That's what I heard. I don't know.
because it keep, like, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's all bad, but like I think that's an actual fact. I think it's So
I believe so. Yeah, no doubt. And I think that everyone, you know, for the longest time, we were made to believe that like cannabis was a gateway drug. Like if you smoke weed, then you're doing crack, then you're doing cocaine, and then you're doing heroin. But every decision I've ever made in my life in terms of like I'm gonna try this drug has always been under the influence of alcohol.
There you go. Yeah.
I have never in my life smoked a joint and then thought to myself, like, now I want to do this drug.
Now I'm really craving some crack cocaine, please.
Yeah, like let's see how
it's mostly
today,
craving the donuts in the pantry, but hey.
Yeah.
So it is. It's a gateway.
Makes you get sugar. Yeah.
It's a
Gateway to
gateway.
sugar.
It's a gateway to the convenience store.
gateway to carbs, but
That's right.
But it's
You
a
know,
good
where
point. I mean,
alcohol.
it's a good point. Like, you know, smoking weed has always been this bad thing, and you know, fine, it's legal now, but it's still considered not the greatest thing in the world. People, you know, you go out and you have a drink, and I smoke a J, people are going to be more disgusted in me than you. That's just that's the way it still is. But it's like we don't talk about the impact alcohol has, and not only on the person drinking, but the people around that person.
Totally.
You know, like your family members, and you know. So yeah, I think it is more common, Cam, than, you know, it's not just you, Carrie, you know, saying, is this me? I think a lot of people would say, yeah, that's what happens when I go home. I polish off a bottle of wine, and I guess the question is like, why do we do it? Like, what's the root cause behind why are we drinking that drink or that bottle? Is it to mask something? Is it to numb something? I don't know. I think we all kind of have to figure that out, and sometimes we don't want to. That's why we keep drinking, right? So I think, you know, it's a really interesting observation you made there, Carrie, and thanks for sharing that point.
But I think it's the same reason that someone would come home and smoke a joint. It's just
to unwind,
a bit of an
right?
escape.
The escape,
right?
Yeah.
That little buzz
escape or whatever. I mean, obviously, if
that's
you're
why
drinking
sometimes that's why I do it. Totally, it's for the buzz, absolutely. But yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But if you're drinking a whole bottle of wine, like, and that's the thing, you can smoke a joint when you come home, and fine, right?
Yeah.
And I can drink a scotch when I come home. I think it's what happens after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Is like, do you continue?
Yeah.
I mean, you could smoke weed all night, I guess. I don't know. I don't smoke, but
Yeah.
Like, what would happen? You just get like tired, like, or,
Well, you can smoke weed all night. That's for damn sure.
sure,
Yeah.
but it's not like
And there's like,
there's
it's
no
not
hangover
like getting
the next day.
drunk.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You could be in a little bit of a fog, but there's no.
Yeah, the fog
Like,
is because you had
marijuana-
20 Tim Hortons donuts.
No, that's
Yeah,
just you
that-
can't. Most people have
that could
discipline,
be-
okay? They stop after 2, okay?
Donuts? Damn it. It's no, I do. I think I was gonna also ask you, Cam, too. It sounded like you wanted to say something in terms of anything that resonated with you after our episode.
No, I was just trying to like follow your like. I was just trying to pay attention, right?
were-
Because like the question was about what came out of it.
Yeah.
And then was
Carrie
your
answered.
answer to
Yeah,
what came
sorry,
out of it?
I
or
took,
was-
I took it way too far.
But like I was
down this road.
obviously really like intrigued with that whole like
Yeah.
like that's why I liked having these conversations,
I know,
right? Because
yeah.
we usually don't really do this when we're just sitting around, right?
Yeah.
We just watch music videos and like drink, right?
dance.
Oh, like I mean, we don't drink. I'm just joking. What came out of it for me was like my favorite part about this is just the like us like talking. Like I like talking like this because I'm not much of a talker. I'm pretty quiet. I'm a quiet person.
Yeah.
And it's funny because this is like people like can tune in and listen to this, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't really think about that. I just like because this kind of makes us have these conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we'd be avoiding it.
Yeah.
But that's my favorite part about this. But it's funny because you like after this, like people do reach out to me, and I think that's so cool. But then it's also like, oh, like I kind of because I'm in the moment, right?
Yeah,
I'm kind of
yeah.
like, oh, I don't.
Yeah.
Did I say that? Oh, like.
Yeah.
But like, of course, I'm like, oh, that is how I feel. But you just, maybe that's the weed, right? but like it's this whole like communicating and talking to the people that you love and care about.
Yeah.
Like it makes me want to do it more like of course off the
Without
the mic and
headphones
shit.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I thank you for that. I really appreciated having you on too. It's been like every episode I'm like, I want to bring Cam on because you're right. You're not much of a talker, and maybe because I was going to say Serena and I, but I did all the talking for you and Serena.
And also because I have a speech impediment.
No, you don't. But I have noticed that when we sit down and, in front of a mic, you talk through stories, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback about that too, is people are appreciating your humor and the way that you share a story, because I think some of the things we talk about can feel and can be dark for some of us, and so you bring a little light to the group. So thanks for that too.
Whatever.
That's exactly how it goes. I always give Cam a compliment, and then I get shut up. That's what I get from
That's
him.
not how it goes.
Say it how you say it to me, Cam.
Shut up.
That's what he says, and now he'll text it.
Shut up.
It's a CH, right?
Yeah, it's a CH. Yeah.
CHAATP.
Oh, there's D.
Chap.
Yeah, that's the loveliness there. So, so anything, I know, Carrie, sorry. Anything else you guys want to bring up about the last episode
Like
that stood out for any of you?
No, I just want I'd thank and again because I appreciate that story
Yeah.
and
Me too.
letting us all kind of immerse ourselves in it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I hope you see the impact you had and the inspiration that I talked about last time that led to that conversation. So I don't know if you feel that, but
Sure. No, not really. It's just,
I'm just living my life. I'm just living my life.
Yeah.
That's right. It's just.
You think you're better than us?
Another thing. Yeah, that's right. I do actually like a lot.
Honestly.
That's because we live in Alberta.
That's right. You guys are those dirty rednecks over there.
Oh my God, I'm in.
Sorry.
Albertians.
Are you gonna have to? Is that the first edit of the episode right there?
No.
No, we'll keep it in.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah,
Perfect.
it's funny because somebody asked about the editing today too, and I was like, we don't actually do a whole lot. I appreciate Carrie's editing eye, but we do very little just because I think it takes like the whole genuineness out of the conversation.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
And if anybody needs any extra editing done, you can contact me at.
Also, that's like Carrie does the editing, so he plays it back and all that, so he probably gets in his head about the questions and everything that he asks and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
I don't
true.
listen to it that much, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to hear myself
why
talk
not?
really.
Did
so
you subscribe, Cam?
like on what Instagram? I don't have any of that shit. So how do
No.
I?
What don't you listen on Spotify?
I don't know. I have
Or
iTunes.
Apple?
I have iTunes.
Yeah. So
Did you hit
can.
the subscribe button?
Yeah.
You're on iTunes. Your own apple? Yo, you made it, yo. I didn't know that shit. Where's my check?
You're a douche. But listen, actually.
Oh, shit.
I am going to say, though, and I didn't know this.
You're like Dom Kennedy. You're a rapper.
Oh, yeah.
You're famous.
Dom Kennedy. But listen, I am going to say about subscribing, because I'm not a tech person. And my neighbor, Kelly, the other day said, you gotta tell people this. She's like, I didn't know. But if you subscribe to wherever you listen to the show on, it's free for you. And it's actually easier for you because the episodes just kind of come to you when they release. You don't have to go find them. And we are going to be releasing extra episodes along, kind of bonus episodes. So I think it would help me if you, Cam, and maybe others out there decide to go and subscribe. So now you can
see that. I was so against you. Like, you don't have to tell people how to subscribe, I guess.
But see, look, even my brother. Well, I bet you Amin didn't know either. I mean, did you know this little thing I just said?
What, to subscribe?
Yeah. Did you know that? Did you know what I just explained about subscribing?
I didn't.
You weren't listening.
Much thought into it to it. No, I was listening. I listened to the entire thing, but I don't subscribe to anything.
Yeah, well, you will now. This is lovely. This is great.
Code, yeah.
It helps
give you
me because
can I give you a down, like one of those down likes? Because that'd just be so funny.
Every time there's like definitely well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of them, but Cam's always gonna
down. Yeah. Every episode it's one thumbs down.
From Calgary, Alberta.
From this one guy, Cameron Dow mentioned you.
From Cam R.
It's not me. No, it'd be Mac MAK, right? I mean, Mac 91. It's not me, man. I'm telling you. He like.
And also, I'm very honored that you would think that only one person would do the down thumb. So thank you for that, guys. That was a nice compliment.
Like it's usually green for thumbs up and then red for thumbs down. So
it should be a middle finger one.
I know it should be a middle finger. That'd be so cool. I appreciate that actually. So, anyways, back on track now. Hey, so I was curious if at the end of the last episode when we were debriefing, did that little post debrief and we had this amazing conversation. And in that conversation, there were some things that Amin and Carrie and I were talking about that we all thought, oh, I wish we had said this. I wish I had said that. And one of the things that really stood out for all three of us was when we ended the episode, Carrie, you talked about, growth and ego. And I think a couple of you brought that up a couple times. And so I'm curious if there's anything more you want to add to that.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that I was really thinking about. And one was, again, just like growth. I know Amin and I were like talking about that. The other thing was kind of like the whole keeping up with the Joneses as well. Yeah, growth. I don't think a lot of, like, as a guy, I don't talk to many people about like growth and trying to be better.
Yeah.
And I know I can tell a bit of a story if we have a minute.
Yeah, we got lots of minutes.
So, are you okay with that, Amin? I know you're like somewhere else in another province.
No, of course. I love stories.
Story time.
I worked somewhere. It was for like 15 years, and good pay, good company, learned a lot. But around like year, I don't know, let's say 10 or 11, or maybe even before that, I became like fairly stagnant. But I was stagnant because I was just like, the pay was good and the job was easier and easier. So I was really like, I wasn't having to do that much for a good income. And then, eventually I'm like, oh, and then I started like thinking about, okay, this isn't good. Like, I'm not becoming better at anything. There's nothing to learn. There's nowhere to go in the company I was, because there's like owners involved and I wasn't one of them. And there was already someone running the company. So there's nowhere for me to go. And so I just started thinking about growth. And then I remember telling somebody, oh yeah, I'm thinking of like, I think I should do something else. And I remember, there was two camps. There's one camp saying, man, like, what? Why? You're doing so well and, your income's good, blah, blah. Like, why would you, and your job's easy. Why would you do anything? Like, that's the dream, right? And then there's the other camp, and these are like my entrepreneurial buddies. And they're like, yeah, we totally get it. So I followed that path, right? And then I remember there's definitely I think it was 40. I was turning 40, and this stupid thing in my head, I'm like, oh, I want a 6-pack when I'm 40. Like, that was my thing. It was like a physical thing, right? And so I started in on like deep diving into podcasts and keto, the ketogenic diet. And I remember like finding like Tim Ferriss, who's like a pretty mainstream podcaster, listened to him, and just like almost like he was another friend that I had. That I, like, obviously we didn't chat. He just talked to me with his friends, right? And just kind of a deep dive into that. And then, started meditating, started, I would say eating better, working out, having a routine in the morning, the tea, writing, getting up early. Because for about 10 of those 15 years, or maybe 8 of those 15 years, I had to be up at 4:30 and at work at 5:30. And I remember like things were really good. I remember things being really good because when you're up early, like you have a lot of you time, right?
Yeah.
So I got back into that routine, even though I didn't need to. And just through podcasts, through changing diet, through a routine in the morning, drinking tea in the morning, and the growth really kind of started to take off for me. And, it's just one of those things. Oh, you meditate, right? Like kind of woohoo stuff, right? But I don't know, it worked for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what's interesting, I mean, a lot of things that you said were interesting. But in some ways you're talking about, and you talked about this, in the last episode too, like ego. And you're talking about growth, and one of the things that you're talking about is establishing this routine and this, regiment. So you know what's coming next. And I don't know if you think of Freud, and if you want to think of his whole thing about ego, and the id is created at birth, and it's like our subconscious, and it's like a baby. So a baby's ego is constantly needing to be fed because they're hungry, their diaper needs to be changed, all those things. But subconsciously, they're asking for it. So they cry, they make noise, they do all the things. And as we grow older, we become more aware. And when you talk, I honestly hear you talk about that, feeding that inner child, feeding that baby in the way of like that routine, giving it what it needs in order to be able to grow and be aware of the other things that are necessary for you as a grown up. So I don't know if I'm making sense when I'm saying what I'm saying.
No, I get it.
You're talking about establishing this consistency and this routine in your life to help you feel like you're focused and you're strive.
Yeah, I guess, and I think where we're talking about, I know Cam has left at that point, but it's kind of like we're just trying to be better every day.
Yeah.
Right? And like, I would hope that everybody's doing that thing, right?
Yeah.
Like try to, even if it's incremental, like something better every day, or try to do something better every day. And to me, kind of regimenting my morning was at least, okay, that's done.
Yeah.
That's for me. That's my time. And then because when you get home, especially if you have kids, you're right into, the chaos of
the
when you walk in the door,
blah,
right?
blah, blah, yeah.
But I think where Aman and I were talking about was like, I don't know if us as guys talk a ton about, growth and being better every day. And maybe we do.
Like how you feel about things even.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But in terms of growth, I think, when you're wanting to be better, I don't think there are a lot of people there. There's a lot of people out there that aren't happy with where they are. So, they're not trying to be a better version of themselves. They're just trying to get through the day, and I think growth is that's the best part of it is, trying to be a better version of yourself every day. You're not going to get there if you're stuck. So I feel like getting out of that routine, like Carrie talked about, taking those first steps, making a plan for yourself on how you're gonna achieve your goals. That's the most important part is that first step of growth. Whereas if you're just stuck and like you said, for those last how many ever years it was where you're just going through the motions, there was no growth for you. You sort of hit a point where you just stopped, and because there was no growth, you felt it in your everyday life, where you were just, it was sort of like Groundhog's Day every single day. Yeah. There was nothing of really substance there, but we're trained to believe that, that Groundhog's Day is what we should be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I honestly, I felt like I was kind of like stealing, and I'm doing the air quotes, like stealing from the company, because I'm like, this is too easy. I mean, I set my quote unquote job up, right? I set that up. So it was easy because I set it up and I managed it to that point, right? But I'm like, it shouldn't be this easy. I'm not giving anything back other than now I've set up some structure, right?
Well, you're not getting anything back.
And I wasn't definitely getting anything.
Right. And because I remember that shift in you too, from being super pumped and excited about what you were doing to this autopilot of, I'm doing what I'm doing. And it helped because you had young kids at the time too, and you could be flexible in other parts of your world. However, I think Amin's right. Like it takes a lot to be able to step out of that. It's almost like you're stepping outside of yourself to say, holy crap, I'm stuck right now. And I don't want to be. Like, I want to do something else.
Well, and I reflect.
There's one more thing. Sorry, Carrie.
I was just going to say, I'm reflecting back to kind of like when you started seeing, a therapist and talking to somebody is kind of what I did without that external person. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I didn't go and again, that's like pretty toxic of me. And what we talked about was like, well, I wasn't going to go do that, right? And so I didn't, but I'm like, I wanted to do it either way, so I kind of did it on my own, which is probably way longer and way harder, right?
How do you do that? Like, how do you guys, I'm glad you're going there, because how do you guys not talk about your feelings?
Just so much easier.
Is it though? Mm-hmm. Do you feel that you're gaining by not talking about how you truly feel?
Because our feelings don't matter.
No.
Says who? No.
Says everyone that's ever not been us. That's just
but do you
how
believe
we're meant
that?
to.
Yeah.
I believe to a point, the way that we grew up, yes.
Yeah.
Like I bring this up with Brenda all the time, where it's like, in certain situations, especially earlier on in our relationship, it was like, she wanted me to be like that sensitive guy in the movies, but at the same time, like when I was like, wanted to talk to her about what something that she might have said made me feel, she was like, suck it up, princess. Mm-hmm. where like that doesn't matter. It's like, the sensitivity is only like on the romance side of things, but like in every other part of facet of daily life, like you got to be that man, and
you have a ponytail, so you should be sensitive ponytail.
Yeah, that's right.
What's a man bun?
A goatee on the back of his head.
On the back of his neck. Or back of his head.
I can make it into a ponytail.
I like how we had to break into a joke because we were getting too feely. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Like we almost started talking about our feelings.
I know. I almost got you guys there. I'm sorry though. I'm sorry that you guys are in that place and you feel that there's no space for your feelings. That's like gotta be isolating. That's gotta be lonely.
I think when you are the provider of the family and you're this person that's meant to be the rock, then there's no room for it.
There could be. I feel like
I don't think there.
Maybe,
I don't think that's right, but I just think that's what we think.
Yes. Yeah. But I feel like it's I just think there's balance in everything. Yeah. And like for me, I don't I don't agree with everything that's like happening in terms of like how society's going. Like I don't believe in like participation ribbons. Like you shouldn't get things just for doing things.
Yeah.
Like you should earn it.
I feel like that's right. I feel like that's a huge thing that's missing in today's society with the young kids, like our kids, kids that are older, like the generation, that came after us. They're just, they just think that they should get things. Well, I'm here, Like, I showed up, now give it to me. You know, entitlement is so ridiculous, where it's like they don't feel as though, you know, they need to earn it anymore. It's just like, well, we came and now, you know, why should we have to do this? That's old school thinking. Well, no, it's not old school thinking. Like, you can't. You know, it's much sweeter to earn something than it is to just be given something, right? You don't really learn much being handed something, so there's no growth. There's no growth there, right? It's just you're given something, and then you just come to think, well, I need to just keep getting things. I don't need to. I'm not going to go over there and, you know, actually put the work in. If I could just stand here and get things, there's no growth. So.
Well, it's like, it's kind of that whole adage of like winning the lottery, right? Like, most lottery winners, they're, I don't know, broke after whatever the stat is, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
It's because they never earned it. So they don't,
That's right.
They don't know, maybe, they don't have the spending habits. They don't have the, like, the, I guess, the foresight to maybe invest it or whatever, right? Because it's just given to you. Boom.
Totally. I remember my dad one time when I was I think I was like 18, 19. And, you know, Amin and I sort of talked about last episode, like our families, we didn't grow up privileged. Like, we had to work. I had to, you know, we all grew up working. My parents weren't able to hand us things. And I remember one day my dad was so emotional and crying because his buddy at the time had bought his son a new, I don't know, like Audi Q4 or something. And he couldn't afford to even pay for my schooling because I had gotten student loans. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am so grateful for like the many things that you guys have taught us as kids, but also the value of working for it. And I honestly think that earning my way through, you know, paying for my student loans, working, all those things, I really do think that helped our relationship, you know, Carrie and I, and even with the kids, and that mentality you're saying, like, there's a sweet reward at the end when you know that you did something to get that, versus feeling like, you know, I mean, if my parents wanted to hand me, you know, a car or money for something, I wouldn't say no to them. I'm not, you know, but I grew up the way I did, and I'm grateful for that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And so I hear what you're saying with this entitlement thing, but I wonder too if part of that other generation that you're saying, you know, came in when the participation trophy came, is because, like, when the pendulum swings, it swings so far. There's no balance when society is trying to learn from the past and change. It's like we're so afraid, again, that culture of fear, like, oh my gosh, these kids, you know, were treated poorly and had to earn their way and all this stuff. And now we're just going to tell them all that they all deserve this. And I do think there's a balance. Like, I do think kids should be validated and told that they can get that thing that they want, you know, and be taught how to earn it. I just think that it's also not as so simple as, well, they all grew up entitled to, you know, like, I think that next generation of parents wanted to do something different for their kids than the way that maybe they were raised, and so we're all screwing it up every decade, every generation.
Sure, because, like, no one wants, like, you know, I don't want a hard life for my children. I don't want it to be hard for them, but, you know, like, a lot of this stems from, like, you know, sparing children's feelings, like feeling left out, like, oh, I didn't get a ribbon today, you know, I didn't, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I got a lot of ribbons.
Exactly, neither did I, right?
So, I wish I did, though.
Maybe
we would have turned out better, if we did.
Who knows?
Well, that's the thing, right?
Maybe we needed those damn participation ribbons.
Just because this is what we know. I mean,
yeah. I remember also, though, like, when I was playing ice hockey growing up, like, when you enter tournaments and all that stuff, like, for entering the tournament, they would give you, like, a participation award. But I remember being a kid and then not meaning anything to me because we lost. So, like, I don't know.
AJ gets those things, and, like, they're under, like, I find them 6 months later, like, underneath, like, both car mats in my car.
Okay, he doesn't. Yeah, it's
but if he gets something, like, you know, last year, the year before, he won some, like, trophy that was, like, specifically he won it for doing something. And this guy, like, people will come to our house and he's like, look at this thing that I won.
Yeah.
You know, because he earned it. Like all of those participation ribbons, those things, like those are randomly strewn about in our house. But that thing that he earned, he knows where it is, and he shows that off to people. Like, I earned this, you know, like, so right there, like that sort of proves that, like, it doesn't mean anything. We don't need to give it to them, because you're essentially just, you know, fooling yourself.
Cam, did you earn all the ones that mom keeps a shrine of you in the house? You know, that big glass shelf that we have at home? Seriously.
Those are all like first place, like MVP, like, you know, best of the
league for kids.
Oh yeah, right. This kid, right? Like, seriously. I am the favorite child.
That also, like, that participation thing or whatever, I feel like, for not for all kids, but for some, I think it kind of like puts in that competitiveness, you know, like to be competitive. Like, for me, it was all sports, school, like I wasn't really there. But like even it goes into that, right? Like, you know, like I want to, oh fuck, this guy got an A. Like I want to get for me, I was like, I want to get a fucking C+, right? But like, it'd be like, oh,
C+ to B.
Oh, like I want to get an A too, right? Like, you're not better than me. Like, that's, you know, and I think that's like, I don't know, not we're talking about sports, but like, I think that's
like the healthy competition, absolutely.
It's like so good for you,
It's in you, and it's a drive in you, and I think it needs to be fed, because otherwise, where does it go? What does that drive turn into? I don't know.
Yeah, and I think this sort of stems from one of the other things that I think we talked about too on that debrief was ego, because this could just be a result, especially the participation ribbons, is like, you know, egos of parents who are embarrassed or not happy that their child needs to stand there, you know, at trophy time, and they don't walk away with a ribbon or a trophy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because like most likely the kids aren't coming home and saying, well, I didn't get first place, but I want a last place ribbon. Kids generally come home and say, oh, this, you know, Marky won first place, and I want to win it next year, you know, but it's those parents that potentially come back. And
I love all martial arts. I think we've had some experience with both of our kids in martial arts, and I love the way they teach discipline to kids, and, you know, respecting your elders, and you know, what eye contact can mean, and just building confidence. And, you know, you're not learning these fighting techniques to be the cool guy in a back alley. You're learning these techniques should you need them. Here's what you're going to do before you ever need them. And I love that they teach kids that you're going to earn, you know, your next stripe or badge or whatever it is. And these kids have to work. Like, Terrence is constantly needing to ice his neck or his shoulder or something, because they're putting their blood, sweat, and tears into this. And I think, again, like, there's something, and maybe also, you know, with genders, like with boys, there's something innate, there's something in there that you guys, like, seriously have, that you guys need to get out, as I see the rowdiness in my house and the wrestling we talked about with you. Yeah, your testosterone, seriously.
Sorry, did you say be that cool guy in a back alley?
I was going to make the comment.
That's all I can think about. Is that a thing?
There's no cool guy ever in a back alley.
There's no, like, that's kind of... Like, what the
Like, you politely waited, because I would have interrupted you 16 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah, we're waiting the whole time.
This is all about growing, right? So maybe you can learn from me, right? And grow.
We can always learn from you, Cam, as you taught me at our last fight, that big fight we had after that AP Dylan music video.
Was it after a music video?
Yeah. But we worked it out. We were friends.
Good thing we finished the music video, though, right before you got otherwise the song would have been ruined for us.
Always, yeah. Yeah, I think we cut you off, though. I mean, were you saying something else there?
I mentioned testosterone.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I remember.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
And then Carrie and Cam, you guys are the ones that distracted and went back.
I was waiting so long for a break.
I know.
And then he brought it up. I'm like, oh, he beat me to it.
The cool guy in the back alley.
I was like, I can't forget that one, because, like, what the fuck is that?
I was going to write it down, but I'm like, no,
they keep Karenisms.
Well, hey, we got an episode title.
The cool guy in the back alley. I don't know. You guys, I'll send you more. You guys can vote. Maybe there'll be a better one.
So I think the other thing that we, and I don't know if it was in our little debrief, there's like the pressure of like keeping up it, especially in like certain communities or certain cultures, and maybe it is cross cultural, where you you see somebody with the the new Mercedes.
Well, I think it is
G-Wagon, and you're like, oh man, and then you feel shitty about it automatically. well, what are they doing that I'm not doing?
Yeah.
And are they, they're happy. Oh, they got to be happier. And now kind of knowing the actual like behind the scenes scenario, some of these, I know like one of my buddies, he's a realtor. No, sorry. He makes signs for like the real estate.
Yeah.
So he puts the signs up and he's like, you know what, man? He's like, I had a guy drive up in a Lambo, order a bunch of signs, and I don't know, the bill was a couple $100 and his credit card got declined.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Right? And he's like,
real.
this is just, it's like, so, I don't know. And again, it could be cross-cultural, it could be certain cultures. I see it more definitely in certain cultures myself, but where like, yeah, you need that Range Rover, but you don't realize they're like crazy in debt. They're not happy. And when you're in debt, like as a family, it's not happy in the house, right? From what for sure. So
no, and I would agree, because I think especially for when you say that you'll see it in certain cultures, and I feel like the Indian culture is definitely one of those, and I think the main thing is because that's how it would be displayed back in India.
Yeah, your status.
That's right. Like where you live, how you dress, what you drive. That dictates what you do for a living. That means you can buy these things.
Yeah.
Whereas here, like Carrie mentioned, well, you could go to the bank, and if you got good credit, they could give you a bunch of money, and you could just go buy these things, and it doesn't mean you are successful.
Yeah.
But you just feel as though you have to, that's what you have to show everyone. And that just goes back to our ego there, right? Not letting us, not be happy unless we have these things. And it's,
or think that that's going to give you happiness.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
Right.
sad. It's sad. Like I'm so glad we left BC, honestly, when Carrie and I did, when I was 20, 22, however old we were, because sometimes I think that if we were still back there, I don't know if I would be the person I am out here. Like out there, you're just constantly trying to keep up, and it's expensive to do that. And, inflation now, let's try doing that. And this happiness that we're trying to get is from external measures, and it only lasts so long. It's, if you want to talk about the gateway drug, money maybe is there too, right? Like it's like, okay, now I need the next. Now we got to go on this vacation. Now we got to go and get first class seats, and we got to tell these people, and we're doing it because we're telling everybody that we have these things. And I've seen it, and I have heard how empty people's bank accounts are, but they've thrown lavish weddings and all these things for their kids, and the kids are letting their parents do it too, and there's no money. And now how are we going to pay this bill? And it's sad, because the people that care and love us the most and respect us the most only want our time. They don't want our money. And that's right. What my grandpa taught me. People will want, people that care for you and you care for will want the time, instead of I need to pay this for this and that for that. And I don't know.
And it's usually we're showing off or whatever, or the perception is to show off for people like you generally don't even know or care about, right?
Yeah. But you feel good about it. You feel good about it for sure.
Like the real elite rich people, if you see yourself, like if you see that level of people, they're private. You don't even know they're that rich. You go drive around the lake, expensive houses in our community, and they have RAV4s and old Toyota trucks, because it's not about the Lambos and the G-Wagons or whatever for them. It's hard, whatever. However they got their money, and they do what they do, but they're not trying to show the next, at least, I don't know. At least that's how I've experienced it and seen myself around people at a table, where I'm like, I would never know that you are worth that much money because you're such a genuinely down-to-earth person, and I got to be better because I'm trying to be all elite here.
I think you get caught into it sometimes
totally.
Too. Like even like
and there's nothing.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carrie.
I was just gonna say, Kieran and I talk about it a lot, where we're like, we'll notice we're getting not dragged into it because it's choices, right? But we're like, oh, whoa, like we have to stop this now because this is because of XYZ.
Yeah.
Or this is because we're around these people. But this
we
isn't
went to
that-
our friend's house and
this
their house
isn't
was
us.
so pretty, and now we feel like, it's like, hold on, that's great for them. We're happy for them, but
We don't need to. We don't
Yeah.
need that.
we'll just scratch the
that's
paint
right.
off the wall over here and put a picture over top.
You could say
No,
ego is
Yeah.
one of the worst drugs of them all. Hey,
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
too much of it, you'll think you're immortal.
The wisdom over here. So
Just like
can
other
I just?
drugs.
There's one thing that you said about, and I think, and I don't know if we want to explore it. I don't know where we're at with time, but you said getting away from the Lower Mainland or Vancouver helped you grow. I wonder. I think there's some sort of a correlation in terms of like getting away and growing. Like for me, I got away and I went far.
Yeah. You went to New
Like
Zealand.
I went to New Zealand and grew. Like that's where my growth was. I think maybe getting uncomfortable out of your norm helps you grow. Is that
Yeah. I mean, can
Is that
I
a
just
thing?
do a quick explanation of what happened to you in New Zealand? How you grew?
Can you tell my story?
Yeah. Or do you? Yeah. Let me tell your story because
Okay.
So this is Carrie's story for New Zealand. He's 20 something, leaves to go with
Maybe 19.
with his buddy because they're going to go to New Zealand and get married. That's what they're going
Not
to
to
do.
each other, but
No,
find
to
girls.
women at that time. Yes, they go. His buddy actually did end up getting married, but Carrie, within 3 months, within 10 days, ran out of money. So he called his parents, and good old Linda and Terry McKay were of sound mind and said, "Find your own way back home, son." And just pause there. Like, how many parents would wire their kids money? Right? Like your kid is like, fuck,
lot.
right? And these parents are so fantastic because it's probably killing them. And they're like, nope, this kid needs to learn. So they're like, figure it out. So Carrie's 10-day, 2-week trip turned into 3 months because he had to go as a colorblind man pick apples at an orchard.
It went well.
Didn't they like look at all the different shades of red and green, and they were like, "You must be colorblind."
Yeah,
It's
so
like a Shrek, like donkey when they send him out to go get flowers, and he's like, "I'm colorblind." He's like, "What do I do?"
now I'm the donkey in Shrek in this story.
Yes. As long as I'm Fiona.
That's just all I thought I had.
No, the guy that owned the orchard.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know. In my head, he was 9 feet tall, and he'd walk through the the trees and just like grab apples. Like he didn't need a ladder. We all needed ladders, but he didn't. And he wore wooden shoes. He was Dutch, in New Zealand, and he because you'd fill up these massive big boxes of apples, and he's like, he came to me. He's like, "You're colorblind." I'm like, "What? No, I'm good." He's like, "No, you are." He's like, "Okay, and he was good because he's like, "Okay, we're just gonna have you pick like this, and this type of apple because it's like a lot, like maybe instead of like the yellowy green apples."
Yes.
I don't know the names of apples, even though
Are those
I've
golden?
picked
They're
like
all right,
Fiji
yeah.
apple or Fuji apple or whatever.
I don't know, but yeah, they're good.
He helped me, so it was good. But anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, so then it took Carrie 3 months. But in that time, before you came home, you sent your parents a letter, like an apology letter.
Yeah, it was like multi-page letter.
18 pages, front to back.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, maybe not that. But, and I think, yeah, it was just like, it was super hard. Like, and we had to like work. I think we were working illegally because we didn't have like work permits, which the New Zealand people are coming now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
We walked into, like the tax office and we got like, I guess their version of a SIN number, and they didn't ask anything. So we just got this number as long as, and
Was
we
it
paid,
some cool guy in a back alley
I
selling?
paid taxes there.
Oh,
so
interesting.
I mean, that's all they care about.
Yeah.
But anyways, so went over there. I found someone to marry, but I didn't marry her.
Oh, didn't work out.
why is that?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have time for that story, but her dad was on Oprah.
Oh,
Like 100%. That was like the only thing that was truthful out of this person's mouth. But
nice.
yeah, her dad was, anyway, I won't go into it. Her dad was on Oprah. We'll put it that way. And if I don't need to like go deep into it, but it was a crazy story. Anyways,
Yeah, so then
I declined to marry anyone
Aw,
at that point and
yeah.
came home a grown person. At least in my head, I was.
So getting away helps.
Yeah, and I don't know. Have you guys got away? Have you guys like, or even like been stressed to the point that growth just happened?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I don't. Cam, go. You had a journey too, didn't you? So
yeah, I've had a few journeys in life. Can't remember them, most of them, because of the weed.
Because of the weed.
But yeah.
Minor side effect.
I mean, first of all, one thing about ego. I thought we were talking about the planet from Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's good to know that we're talking about the actual feeling.
You're mining inside of his brain or whatever. Is that the one they're mining?
Like the whole time we're talking, you're just imagining the planet.
I was like, I can't wait to talk because I like superheroes. And then I was like, oh.
You're like adult talk.
Second, now if you put another G in there, it's ego, and I love egos. Every time you say ego, I think about like egos.
Eggo waffles.
Yeah.
You and Serena, man, those were your favorites.
I fucking love egos, and you don't grow out of them too. Eh? It doesn't matter how old you get, you'll eat egos.
Yeah.
Anyways,
we'll get them for Christmas morning. We'll make egos on Christmas morning.
Sorry, what was the question again, though? Like the original question.
Amin asked.
Sorry, Amin. No, he
said you had a journey. You had a growth journey. You said you had
journey.
many.
Yeah.
Well, that's a long story too. We need like 2 hours for my journey, but like, yeah, I was probably, I would say I was a fucking baby until I left my parents' house. Didn't know how to do anything, and that would be like, when did I come here? I was how old?
Well, Cam,
I was like 21.
are you going to talk about why you came here?
Get away? Just to grow.
Yeah,
if there was an option
22.
to grow, I thought maybe, like kind of like clean the slate type thing, like.
Were you coming here to grow, or were you just coming here because like your parents were bitching at you to like do stuff?
That's a good question.
I think it was probably a bit of both. I think it got to a point where I was like, I need to live on my own or get out and just experience life and kind of like grow. Yeah, so that was there too.
And honestly, like moving out of your parents' home, if you have the ability to do it, the capacity to do it, and in our experience, really helps.
You just cut me off, but keep going.
It helps get close to the parents. Like it helps rebuild that relationship too.
I agree.
So I wonder if that was part of it. But sorry for cutting you.
No. Like now,
like
mom just came down recently, and we had like a really good time. And I was like, oh, like when we were living together, like it was a lot of like fighting and do this, do that, and
drama.
Like, no.
Yeah.
But
it's nice to be able to hang out.
Yeah, I think like if anyone's listening, like when you're of age, like 19, 21, like living on your own and experiencing life is like probably one of the most like important things like ever, because I remember I still do, like when I was living there, I was like, I didn't know anything, how to do anything. And I was like, I don't even know like
Could you make egos
shit about shit, man. So I was like, I need to learn. And even now I was like, I still don't know shit about shit. So I'm like I need to learn stuff, right? And you're
but
always
now
like
you know what you don't know.
But now, what?
Like now you know what you don't. You know that you need to learn how to use this tool to do this thing. But you didn't even know before, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the stage you're in at that early age.
And then, as I got I did labor jobs, which is a huge help. I think.
Yeah.
It helped me.
Can we talk about the roofing job? I think that's important.
Yeah, the roofing job.
Well, that ties into like the whole masculinity.
We were supposed to tell the story
thing.
in the last episode, and you didn't.
Okay, so do you want to tell my story because you're so good at telling stories, or are you going to cut me off anyways, or should I tell it myself?
Kieran will tell everyone's stories.
Today I'm going to tell a story on all of your behalf. I've already told Kieran's story. Now I'll tell Cam's
Tell it
story.
right, though. Don't fuck it up.
But you tell your story.
So anyways, when I was like 21, like when I first came here to Calgary, moved here, I lived with Karen and Carrie. I don't know if they were charging rent yet at that time.
No,
Maybe
we
you
weren't.
were. I don't know.
No, we weren't.
But anyways, I got a roofing job. Not like drugging people, but like working on roofs. Like,
thank you for clarifying that on this podcast.
Yeah, so I was
for the one person that thought you were roofing,
and not like residential, like not like houses, but like
commercial buildings
and like So that was still to this day probably the hardest job I've ever done in my life, because it was. You work in the summertime.
Cam, you lost like 1,000 pounds.
I was also like young though, so it's so easy to lose weight when you're young. Man.
Why is he so like? I was like, how did he lose? Like, there was a lot of weight you lost at that time.
Anyways, I was roofing. I probably was there like for 6 months, the whole summer, and I was thinking about staying because it was like the best pay I ever had.
Yeah.
And the reason I quit was because I got a pretty like severe injury, I guess.
Yes, Cam.
You can say severe, right?
Yes.
Because I got like a massive tar burn. Because you use a lot of the bricks. Actually, one of the jobs they had me doing was a job they didn't want. It was you would get these like massive brick, like tars of brick, and you throw them into fire so they'd melt, because you'd use that for the base or whatever, for the roof and shit. You mop that on. And there's so many times where the machine, I don't even know what the machine was called, but it would go on fire. Like it would just literally, like, it would go on fire, and I would scream up because they were on the roof and I was down. I was like, yeah, like, what do I do? And they look down and they just laugh, like, and then they go back to work, and I'd be like, okay.
Close the lid.
So then I don't know how, I remember how I figured that shit out. Like, I even closing, it was like, I remember there was this one time, but then I just like literally like just stopped, and the fire went away eventually.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like I got a massive tar burn on my left wrist.
Yeah.
And that thing was, it was
so gross.
She was,
Yeah, very bad.
she's a big girl, hey? Like on my wrist.
It was bubbling out.
It was bubbling up, and it was like a huge, it was black, like
really
massive
bad.
Balloon pretty much, like on my arm.
With a bunch of mini colonies of balloons.
And that was probably when I was like 3 hours into the shift it happened.
Yes. Yeah.
And then most of the guys, all the guys, they were like, oh, just a little.
Suck it up, princess.
Yeah, pretty much suck it up. Like, oh, just a little, like, we'll rub some dirt on it type shit.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, whatever. I finished my shift, and then I came home, and then Carrie like, what the, like, you need to go to the hospital.
Mom and everybody was here because we just had Xander. And Mom and Papa and Serena were like, what are you doing? And even I was like, oh my God, get to the hospital. And he's like, I don't know. And you were in so much pain.
Oh, it hurt, yeah.
Like, so much pain. And then Serena went to emerge with you. And you ended up needing skin grafting, didn't you?
But wait.
Yeah.
Did you finish your shift?
Yeah, I finished the shift, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
And it was probably, I think it was like usually a 10-hour day, not even an 8-hour day, right?
Yeah.
We did 10-hour days.
Like the pressure around all these men that are, the culture is, this is what you do, this is what happens.
And it happened to them, but
and
maybe, obviously not
you
that
don't
bad.
go to the hospital for that. So Cam's, this 21, 22-year-old.
But then, like, when I went to the hospital, like, so the nurse pretty much, like, popped it. And then pretty much was picking tar, like, with, like, pliers, was picking tar out of my skin. And it was just pulling skin off, right? And then I was, like in pain. And then she's like, stop being a baby. I remember the nurse said that to me. So then I was like, So then I was like, I'm being a baby about this.
It shouldn't have even come.
Because this lady told me I'm being a baby, so.
And everybody at work.
And everyone at work, yeah.
And maybe even some people at home. Hey?
What?
Maybe we're like, you should have just sucked it up too.
Well, I mean,
And
you know what? You know what I was thinking
about? Did you go to work
about?
the next day?
What? No, I don't think so. Because I had like a cast and stuff and all.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about like, what was I gonna say? I was thinking about people who used to get like tarred and feathered like way back in the day. Like,
really
could
bad.
you imagine that? Like
that's rough.
For me. This is minor compared to that, and this was like so painful.
Yeah.
Like
So bad.
crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm talking too much.
But you were also, that story came out of you talking about Amin's whole question to you about your growth journey. So at that time you were roofing, making all that money.
Yeah.
And then what?
Then I was like, I got injured, and I was like, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah.
And then I remember quitting, and then thinking about going. And then I went back to I think Surrey.
Yeah.
And then I went to post-second. I went to college, Douglas College, for like almost got my bachelor's of science. Only got 2 years of that.
Yeah.
And then I dropped out because I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a geologist or any of this shit. Then I moved back. Then I went to Peace River.
Yeah.
Gravy town.
Because my cousin was out there, and he had a good job at.
You went to go worship the cows with your cousin?
Yeah. Can you stop cutting me off? Because like, I can't I forget stuff quick. So you can't do that to me. You can do it to everyone else.
You're so cranky today, Cam. Hangover Cam is so cranky.
He's not wrong.
Okay, so went to Peace River, worshipped cows with a bunch of white people out there, and then I didn't get the job at the correctional facility. Also, like a lot of old white women out in Peace River were trying to like take me home like with them. I was working at I just thought about it now. I was working at a grocery store, and they're all like, I would like help them take because they're like so old, and I was like, I'd help them take stuff, and they're like, can you come home with me? Unpack my stuff. And I remember that when I was like, no. I don't think they ever seen a brown person out there.
You
So
need
like,
an
oh,
OnlyFans account, Cam. There's your audience.
Spice in their life. But yeah, so I went out there, didn't get the job at the correctional facility. Then Karen and Carrie called me with an opportunity, right? They're like, well, we need a nanny.
Yeah, because our nanny's whole immigration status bail last minute.
Yeah.
And I was going back to work after having Terrence.
That's another story too there.
That whole thing, yeah. But you came down. Like, you didn't hesitate for a second, and you said yes. And
but I was in Peace River. I was like, fuck this place. you think like I don't give a shit what you like. You could be like, yo, like clean my toilets for like the next 10 years. Okay, I'm coming for free. You idiots like wanted to pay me, right? Just joking.
I'm the one that wins here. Yeah.
So I guess to circle around, you got away.
Yeah.
You got out.
Yeah.
You got out of the house, and
but it was all like a growing experience. Like I did a bunch of like I even told my wife Nana about this stuff, and she's like, "Wow, like you did quite a bit like before you settled down, like you know." And I was like, because I never thought I did anything. I was always like, just like I don't want to do that, like you know, like. My like I like to play sports and then watch movies. You know, like I don't want to go and like fucking ride ATVs and shit. Like actually that was fun. I did the hard joe. It was fun. But like you know like that type of stuff.
hard joe.
So I'm like pretty chill. I'm like a homebody type person, right? Yeah. So and then she's like, oh, you like you tried a lot of things, and then I was like, yeah, you're actually right. I did. And then also even with Alberta Fire and Flood, like I took a chance there. I was working labor hourly, and I was just a laborer. I didn't have a title. Mm-hmm. And then I became crew chief. They gave me an opportunity to become crew chief to run my own crew. And I had to buy a van to go on commission. So I did all that stuff. And like before in life, I'd be like, I'm not going to invest in myself. Like,
I'm not doing
that. Like I'm going to fail.
Yeah.
But then I did that. And it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But then I got this Canada Post opportunity, and for me, technically, I remember Kerry was talking about like he did everything he could, and then he was like this is like I'm done, like this is it.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I just want to be comfortable. Like I want a decent paycheck, like a pension, whatever. Yeah. Like
well, and that's the two camps I was talking about. And
that's it. Like I'm my job's taken care of. I'm gonna do this 8 hours a day. I know what I'm getting.
Yeah.
40 years I'll be here. I'm going to retire. I'm out. Like I don't know if Canada Post will be around that long, or if they're going to use robots by then or what. But like that's my plan, and now I'm going to go focus on like you know.
And neither are wrong. Yeah. Neither are wrong. It's just two different paths. Maybe there's 3 or 4 different paths now since there's like TikTok and stuff. But I don't know.
But sorry. Also, Amin was. Gonna say something.
Thank you. I was going to ask too. Amin, you were going to say something there when Cam was talking.
I was just going to say that, Cam had mentioned, that he realized that, he had done a bunch of things. And then it all stems from that first step of wanting to move out and do things on his own. If he didn't take that first step to do things on his own, he would have never realized like, oh, I can do these things, So
yeah,
I feel like that's why we do tend to, do a disservice, because every generation wants to make it better for the generation. Like that's our job. Like that's what we should do, but I feel like we're maybe taking that, a couple steps too far, and we're not making things better. We're just making things easier.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot that comes from making things easier, because then you don't understand what it means to like earn these things, to do it on your own. And if we do everything for the generation behind us, then once we go, who's going to do things?
Yeah.
So,
well, there's
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say there's a like a true to life metaphor that really sums it up for me. When Kieran and I were at a winery once, and they're like, oh, like we're going to go to the basement of this like nice villa or whatever, and you'll see a crack in the wall, and you'll see the soil that the grapes are growing in, right? And they open the door, and I'm like expecting to see like beautiful black dirt, like when you make a garden out front of your house or out back or whatever. And it was gravel. It was like gravel and like the worst ever, whatever. And I'm like, what? And the guy was like, yeah, it's like life. The harder it is for these grapes to grow, the better they are.
Wow.
I was like, oh, yeah.
Where was I when this whole thing happened?
Probably 3 drinks in.
You're probably cutting him off and like trying to talk to him.
Yeah. I'm taking selfies.
I don't think there were cell phones back
then. Get
then.
me in the dirt. Let me get a selfie. I really like that. I appreciate that. That's I was going to go back just for a second. I was going to ask you guys, Carrie, you kind of talked about in the beginning too, like sitting in it and some of these sad feelings you're having. And then, I mean, you talked a bit about just not feeling like there's a space for you guys to be able to actually talk about your feelings. And I was like, how is it for you that you can't talk about your feelings? I just want to ask, and I know we're trying to be light, and maybe Cam can throw his top fives after this, but there's been, maybe it's the time of year as well. And there's even recently, all in social media, there was a suicide. Stephen Twitch boss. A lot of people know them through DJing for Ellen and dance icon on shows and all sorts of things. And this person, I didn't know them. I knew them through videos here and there, but really didn't know. But anytime I saw a video, it was always happy, laughing with their wife and family, and making all these videos and all sorts of shows, posing with all sorts of celebrities, seemed like a successful man, married, kids, all this. And he took his life the other day, and people are beside themselves. I can't imagine what his family is going through. And I also know that we don't really know his story and what happened. We all know him through social media. But a lot of his friends and a lot of people that knew him posted very nice, kind sympathy around the light, inspiring, all these wonderful things, someone that you want to always be around. And no one really knew that he may have been suffering. There was something going on that would lead him to check into a hotel and kill himself. So, I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about our man episode we had recently. I knew we were coming to this conversation today, and I'm sorry if I'm going a dark place, but I think you guys have done a really important job, a very validating job, talking about vulnerability, what it's been like for you being a man, and you guys have been really honest. And so I'm really curious about what are the pressures for men that could lead someone that looks so successful, so happy, and that's thriving, to a place where he's gone. He took his own life, and he was 40 years old.
Had kids, right, too?
Yeah, 3 kids. Yeah. Can I ask? Is it fair? Is it fair to ask?
You can ask, but we don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Have you ever felt those pressures? Have you is it fair to ask that? Have either of you ever experienced being in that place where people would think that you're doing really well and you're so happy and you're the life of the party, but inside, because you can't talk about your feelings, you're actually living your real life that no one knows?
Wow.
For me, yes. Sorry, Carrie. I would not know how that is. I've never, as dark as my places have been, they've never been so dark that I've ever seriously considered doing something like that. So I can't say I know or I would know, but yeah. Carrie, what do you guys say?
Well, I was just gonna say, that's the whole social media thing, though, isn't it? Everyone just sees your best life. Mm-hmm. That's it. You're not posting yourself crying or yourself I don't know,
getting a fight,
not winning or being the best guy in the back alley or the dark back alley. Was that it?
The cool guy.
The cool guy in the back alley.
The cool guy in the back alley.
Yeah.
You're not posting that stuff. So I mean, everyone's life has rainbows and unicorns around it. So I mean, I'm sure. I don't think I've got there, but I guess I could see over time. I mean, I think and I'm talking I think even all 3 of us, we have people in mental health around us, right? Yep. So, and talking is becoming more or more a thing in our households. I think every day, and you even said your kids went and spoke to a therapist for the first time. Last whatever time we talked last.
Oh no, yeah, that wasn't that they had a session that day. That was the first time they didn't.
But I think
But they have their outlets. The things that weren't available to us, we're making available to them. But going back to what Carrie was saying about social media and we only see the best part. And even Karen, before you started this conversation, you were even sorry to bring things down. So it's just. What we feel everyone wants to hear is just good news. Yeah. So we don't. We're I don't want to talk about this because I don't want to bring down the mood at the party. Yeah. I don't want to. I'm going out with 4 or 5 of my closest friends, I'm having a tough time right now. Everyone seems to be having a good time. Like, I don't want to bring down the mood, whereas us, if it was one of our friends and we were in that group of 6 or 7 friends, all we would want is someone to feel like me where I am now. I would want someone to, hey man, like, I'm not having such a good time and this is what it is. Cause like, to be in that space and then feel like you don't have the ability to like share this with the people that you like feel and know that are as close to you as anyone is going to be. That'd be like a very like lonely and shitty place to be in. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it goes to that where, people feel as though I don't want to be a burden.
Yes. I'm not important and I don't want to, I don't want to rain on your parade and
exactly. Like my wife is busy and, she has, we have these 3 kids and she's busy taking care of them and then going off to her job. Like the last thing I want to do is like bring her down with my bullshit, like my feelings and,
or maybe I'm wrong.
Bring the mood down. Exactly.
Like how I'm feeling it. Yeah. Yeah. So if I talk about
don't even feel safe.
Right. Like That I appreciate that because I think it's and thank you for bringing up what I said because you're right and I'm glad you called me on that we think that we want to talk about things that everyone laughs about and laughing does I think help our mental health in many aspects. I appreciate all the comedians out there that can take a very scary, sketchy, shitty situation and turn it into a funny joke. But at the same time, I hear you. I really, especially in the last few weeks, have been feeling it too, that people want someone to start a conversation that they can join. People want to hear that what's going on in their mind is not an isolating thought, that others go through it too. And, Carrie says to me a lot, he's like, we're not all unique people. Like we are very alike as a human species. And if I'm hurting, then there's a chance that someone else out there might be hurting too. And, walking towards it is going to help manage it. And I really appreciate hearing you say that because I've been thinking a lot about this, the person and just how a lot of people knew this person. And I'm like, I feel sad for the fact that he probably felt like no one really knew him. And all these people think that they knew him and everyone knows him, but no one really got to know the real him. And I don't know, I just think as humans we're worthy and we all deserve for at least one person in our life to get to know the real us. And whether there's a dark side attached to it or not, I think why else do we have human interactions, right? Like we have it so that we can connect and whether that's a sad day or a bad day or whatnot. So
totally. And I think the even sadder thing to think about would be that, for him being like a celebrity and out there, like, having his reach to all the people that did know him, he was probably like a drop in the bucket in terms of other people that were in his same situation in terms of outwardly looking happy and then taking their own life, like
the ones
on the same day that exactly right. Like the people who aren't famous, the people who are just, like the mom or dad that lives down the street.
That's
and,
right.
They look like they got everything under control and they have a great job and a great family. And they felt as though the only way out for them was to take that same step. And I always remember thinking about people who took their own lives as very weak-minded individuals. And then I remember having a conversation with my brother one time and him saying I either I said that like, oh, these people are weak-minded, and he was like, no, or he was just telling me a story. I don't know what it came from, but I remember him saying like, those people are like the most, like in that situation, like the most courageous, not weak-minded, because like wherever I don't know, like for a lot of people, like you go to the edge of a tall building or a bridge and you look over and you're like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to jump right now. Is it very rare for someone to actually jump? So to be like, where they are in their brain, to actually make that leap or that choice or that decision, it's not coming from a place of weak-mindedness. It's like coming from like a place of like absolute, like they're probably so tired that they feel like that's the only thing they can do. And, it's sad to think that, people in our everyday life probably feel like that and we don't even know it. So.
100%.
Well, and I think having these conversations to me, and this is like, even like being a parent and talking to other parents about, the kids, you don't feel as crazy, and crazy is obviously not the right word, but you don't feel as like out of control.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, these parents have the same problem as we do with their kids. So I think that's what we're trying to say here is like, however you're feeling, it's unique to you, but other people are having it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. Because there's so many people like,
Yes.
We're not so unique. Like you said, Carrie, there's other people feeling the same way as you, with billions and billions of people on this planet. Like you're not on an island, even though you might think it is. And I'm sure if you, talk to 2 or 3 people, most likely, 1 or 2 of those people is going to be going through the same thing or have gone through the same thing you've gone through.
Totally. Thank you for what you just said. I really appreciate that. I think that you made really good points, and you too, Carrie, and I see you nodding here, Cam. Like, I think if we can keep talking, then maybe we can inspire, encourage, or build some hope in each other to want to say something. It takes one person to, hear you. And again, even for those people that have been messaging back and sending emails or what, like that's a good start as well. It's just figuring out for ourselves, how can I take the first step and say something? And I also think for those around each other, like I think if we are walking around feeling attuned and present in conversations, sometimes we can pick up on something as well. And just checking in with each other a little bit more can be, I think, impactful. Telling someone that we were thinking about them today, or I think allowing some space in a conversation to kind of process and think, oh, I wonder what that, I should be taking my own advice, hey? Allowing space between conversations, since I'm a master introvert. Look, I just had my own aha moment. Look at that, hey? I did it by myself.
So you know how Cam has Cam's Corner?
Yeah.
Can I have something?
A Carrie's.
Like a homework assignment?
Carrie's ketchup?
A homework assignment.
Yeah, what is it?
So to be like the terrible person giving homework, Carrie?
Wait, do you want to, are you, let's do a top 5 and then you can come back to your homework assignment towards the end. Or do you want to do it right now?
Well, it kind of goes into what you were just saying.
Okay, then say it.
So
Go for it.
One thing I know you're really good at, and you'll text every once in a while, you'll text somebody saying you're thinking about them.
Aw.
And I don't know, but how they respond is like they really needed it.
Aw, I appreciate that.
At least like just how you tell me about it, right? So my homework assignment would be just pick somebody in your life that you haven't talked to for a while, that you care about, obviously, and just say something nice to them. Say, hey, I was like thinking about you, because you don't know what their day's like.
Yeah.
They could have had a great day, but
Yeah.
let's be honest, they, could have just been they could have just got traffic. They could have seen somebody parallel parking poorly, something like that. And then they see a nice text from somebody that they know.
Totally. And people having lovely days also appreciate someone, knowing that someone's thinking of them, right? So
Yeah.
that's a good call to action, Carrie. Good job.
So that's my homework assignment.
Agreed.
A la Fight Club.
For you, and we'll ask others to join you and try everyone do it.
Yeah. And let us
You
know
and
how
all
your
the 5
homework.
other people out there.
Let us know how your homework assignments go at info@mfupodcast.com.
Good job. Cam, how have you not interrupted us? You must have been really enjoying today's conversation to not throw in your top 5s that I'm asking for it.
I like to listen.
Okay.
Maybe he's busy staring into Nana's eyes.
No, he's thinking of the ego planet.
Yeah, still. He's replaying the entire Guardians of the Galaxy movie in his head right now.
Yeah, except he's Star-Lord. The brown Star-Lord.
The brown, that's right, actually. He's living his life right now. He's like,
Karen's Groot because she looks like him.
I'm Groot.
Okay, but I think we're going to do the top 5 segment. You guys know this thing, Cam's Corner, whatever.
Oh, wait. Oh, shoot.
She just ruined my whole
I guess you have
segment.
to let that run. Oh, there you
Nope,
go.
wrong one. Nope. I do this every time.
Hey.
Cam's Corner.
I don't even want to do it anymore. Like, after that shit. Like, right?
I love Almond's hey.
Okay. So yeah, let's do a top 5.
Okay. Need a pencil.
I'm kind of torn between 2. There's 2 I want to do today. Should I give you guys an option?
I think you're gonna have some time.
Or should there never be an option?
You'll be back.
Oh.
That's
What do you
true.
want? I mean, you can decide.
I'm quitting after today.
Should there be an option or should he just pick it? I'm quitting.
No, he should always pick it.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you
That
go.
should be the thing.
That's the feedback.
Okay, we're still learning about this Cam's Corner thing. Okay. So I think today we're gonna go top 5 Disney movies. Disney, Pixar, like
Like
animated.
Okay.
Animated.
They own Marvel and Star Wars now.
So can you do that too?
So you
If it's animated, yeah.
oh, animated.
Animated. But there's not gonna be something you just seen yesterday and it's gonna be in your top 5, like, favorite.
Okay.
Like,
Well, I'm pretty sure you guys know what my
Does
first
White
choice
Lotus
is gonna be
count?
already this year.
Well, I know the soundtrack.
did you hear what she just
Okay,
said?
so hold on. I'm not
I'm
going
talking
first.
to Anna. Did you hear what she just said? I'm
Okay.
like, animated movie. She's like, does White Lotus count? Is that like a live action?
Okay. Shh, let's go. Let everybody think. Top 5 Disney movies?
I'm gonna call almonds first.
Okay, who's going first?
Not me.
I get to pick who goes first. Karen, what'd you say?
Not me. I'm not going first.
Okay, Karen, you get to go first on this Cam's Corner segment. Let's go.
Oh my god, I can't even write it out yet.
Top 5. Doesn't have to
obviously
be
it's
in
not in
order.
order. We determined that. Aladdin, and that's because that's the only connection to a brown Disney princess. So that's the closest I ever got. So that one has to be in there. Oh my god. I'm going to say The Little Mermaid, except for the Disneyland ride that I hated. I'm gonna say Beauty and the Beast, even though that's all about Stockholm syndrome and bestiality.
Doesn't matter what it's about. Okay, you don't have to. Really,
Okay, God.
it's okay.
Okay, there's another one. I really love Up. Is it?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Is it the one with the old man and the balloons?
You're
Right?
gonna ask us if it's that one, and you're gonna say it's.
Oh my God!
In your
See, I
top
didn't get to
5?
think about it. Okay, now there's one more.
You got one more. So Up's not in it. You just like it.
Oh, see, I love the Goofy movie soundtrack, but I don't know if that was my favorite.
Why don't you
one.
put Up in 6? Up can be 6. Number
Oh,
6.
wow, Carrie got Laos the number
No,
6 in.
there's no 6s. There's 5.5.
Can we come back to me, or do I have to finish?
You got to do one more. Just hurry
Oh my
up.
gosh.
And then you laminate the card.
Can you guys throw some Disney movies out
No.
for me?
No.
Okay, Karen, can I have the Aristocats?
No,
okay.
no. I'm not. I've never even seen that one. Okay, hold on.
horrible.
It's not Snow White. It's not Cinderella. It's fine. Fox and the Hound. I'll throw that in there.
Just take Pocahontas.
Ooh, that was not a
I was
bad
like, Fox and the Hound was good.
Okay. Who's next?
I never put Lion King in there.
Yeah, that's
Okay, well, it's
almonds
over.
first.
You're done. It's locked in. Okay, I'm in. You're next. Go ahead.
I don't feel proud of
Lion
this
King
at
for all
Just so you know.
Dylan.
Okay, so first choice is obviously the Lion King. And then I'd have to say Aladdin would
Yeah.
definitely be up
Wow.
there.
Good. So good. How is it not?
That's good. It's
Beauty,
chill.
Beauty and the Beast. I don't know. Like I feel like I want to say The Little Mermaid, but I'm like, do I really want to say the?
You're more of a Pinocchio guy, I think, eh?
I'd rather see Pocahontas, but I feel like after the top 3, I'm like, it's all like the same shit.
Who gives a shit?
Whatever.
We can give Little Mermaid and Pocahontas. I mean,
What about like
But,
a Bug's Life?
Hmm?
A Bug's Life.
Well, as
Oh, you're
a
talking
grown
Pixar.
up, I have to say
that's
Toy
in it
Story.
too, and that's one of mine. So just chill. Don't be
Oh.
mentioning shit. Hey, chill.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I mean, what'd you say?
Toy Story.
Oh.
Toy Story would probably be as an older person. Like Toy Story was
Good one.
a great movie because I don't know. I feel like I was like a grown up when that movie came up.
You were. Good job. That's
Yeah.
a really good pick. I
We're
mean,
old.
that's a solid.
Is that 5?
Oh, 1995 that movie came out.
Wow.
Oh, geez, we were only like 13, 14 years old.
That was faux.
You felt like an adult watching it, though.
I felt like it. Yeah,
Are we
It's like
lo- are
we
we
were in
lo-
high school. We should be
Sorry.
watching that. You know,
Are we locked in?
those
on
are
this,
all-
or-
locked.
Okay.
It's my lock of the week.
All right. I like it. Better than Karen's options. Let's go Carrie next here.
Oh,
It's
you're
not
not,
fair.
you're
You
not
put me on the
going
spot.
next?
No, he's always last.
Do you, I
Oh, is he always
I
last?
can go
Okay.
next, but like I'll go last. If you're not first, you're last.
So are like Lego Star Wars ones? Is that?
Yeah, it's animated, ain't it? Ain't it?
I think you have to go historical, though. Like Snow White and the 7 Dwarves. Is that a thing?
It's actually 8 now.
There's 8 dwarves?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Then
What?
you
Snow White and there's
Yeah.
an 8th one.
Yeah. its name is Nana.
Slappy.
No, I'll have to
Just
go. I'll
slaps
have to
you.
go with pretty much all the same ones, like Lion King, Aladdin.
Okay, no one said Aladdin, Return of Jafar. Like,
Return to Jafar was excellent.
Isn't like one of the best sequels ever?
It was so good.
And Jafar's such a badass in that one too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also want to be like him.
Okay, but what did you pick him?
The
Carrie,
Rendell
sorry,
was
you said
really know how to interrupt, eh?
Lion King, Aladdin.
Yep. Then I'll switch over to Pixar.
Pixar.
So I can't think of the Pixar movies other than Toy Story, but I can't pick that now.
Your son would say Cars.
Oh yeah, that's good. Cars. Yeah, I'll pick Cars. That was good.
Terrence would say Cars.
And
probably.
then which one was the Pixar bug one? Is that Bug's Life?
Yeah.
Bug's Life.
What was the other one that came out at the same time?
Ants.
And that was like some
Garbage.
DreamWorks. Or
That was like why would you do that?
Well, yeah, it's like when those two like Armageddon came out, and then there's like another one that came out at the same time. They're both like big rocks coming towards the planet.
What was the other one?
I think there's
I
like,
no, it had
Oh,
Morgan
dude,
Freeman was in it.
it's the same guys. Same guys were in it too.
Morgan
just
Freeman
changed
was in
their
both of
clothes.
them. Yeah, okay.
So what are you gonna say?
And
what
then I'll
else?
pick like a super old one.
Like Charlie Brown.
No.
Anastasia.
What about the Clay Rudolph thing? Did you love that? The
What about
Christmas
the guy?
Rudolph special?
That's not Disney.
Oh, he said anything
What about
animated.
Bambi?
What about what?
No.
What about Nana Land?
Ooh.
Right? Nana.
Actually, you know what?
What about
What
that
about,
one? What about the one?
Avatar?
Avatar. Which one?
Avatar's not. That's not a cartoon.
Avatar. Well, it's not a cartoon, but it's like
Oh,
majority of it's
No.
animated.
That's
you're,
pushing
you're
it.
opening that. Anyways, I don't know. I'll throw an old one in there. Disney on the tugboat, or what's his name? Mickey Mouse on the tugboat. The very first one
Fantasia?
ever.
No, this is like way
No.
before that shit.
Okay, I'm done.
Oh.
Mickey Mouse is like they're like stickman still.
Okay, well,
So
there you go,
that's
Carrie.
5 locked in.
Yeah, I guess.
Locked in.
Sure.
Done. This watch how fast this is, kid.
Oh, here we go.
Not in order. Bug's Life. Mm-hmm. Oliver and Company.
Oh yeah.
Goofy movie.
Yep.
I got one more. Shit.
You have two more, don't you?
Bug's Life. Oliver and Company.
And Goofy movie.
Goofy movie.
You have
Two
two
more.
more.
Hercules.
Simple
Animated.
Math. That's a good one.
Last one here.
Is that the one with the llama?
No, that's Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
That was good.
That's a good ass movie too, but it's not gonna make this right here.
I'll take out the Mickey Mouse one for that one.
I like Aladdin, I like Lion King, but they weren't. It's not.
Wow, you didn't even pick one of
I would
those?
pick Return of Jafar like before the first one because I just
I don't know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just. I've lost all respect for you.
at
What about
the
Fox in the House?
at the end when he like causes like that plate tectonic like the earth shift like when it opens up like Moses. Oh, remember the Prince of Egypt? That was a really good
Oh,
movie
that
too,
was
man.
sick. He
That was
was so
classic.
hot.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're done.
He was
Yeah.
hot.
He was.
Yeah.
We're
was.
done now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Shut it down. Karen's talking about hot animated people.
That's weird.
Or I can just start talking about Bieber if you guys want.
Okay, we're done.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I think this is. Let's call it an episode.
Locked in. Return of Jafar. Number 5. Okay, go.
Okay,
It's done. Hey guys, thank you for coming today.
thank you.
I really do
Thank you.
appreciate
Lion King 1.5.
This was a really good conversation. Are you still going?
Yeah.
Are you done yet?
Okay.
Milich taught me this. You just stop talking, and then people stop. They start listening. He said, as in his leadership role
Oh, really?
at work. Yeah, I'm like, oh, like a kindergarten teacher.
Who's this Milich?
Yeah,
What's his last initial?
Milich K.
Treasure Planet.
Milich K.
Oh, I'm gonna switch my number 5.
Oh, well,
I'm
he
unlocking
could-
it. Road to El Dorado. Road to
You
El
can't.
Dorado.
No,
Locked
it's
in.
locked
Done.
in.
Locked
You
in.
can't
Game
change the
over.
rules.
I think if he
Game
intended
over.
it.
You,
You know what?
You said locked in a while ago.
Yeah,
my game.
exactly. You know what? I'm just gonna say thank you, and I gotta hurry this up because he can't lock it in. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to reach me, Carrie's already talked about my email, info@mfupodcast.com, as well as on the gram at MFU Podcast. Thank you so much, you guys.
Subscribe.
Oh, and please, yes, thank you. Please subscribe.